Bert Oliva's Mastermind Circle.
Welcome back to another Mastermind session. I'm really excited about this one, like I am with all of them. But first of all, I want to start by thanking everyone that's participating, that's getting involved, all the new members and all of our existing members. One of the things that we've noticed after reviewing our database is that a lot of the people are watching the recorded sessions. And I love that. I love that you guys are doing that. We have now close to 45 hours of content. However, I want you to find the time, even if you're driving in your car, take some time out and attend these sessions live, because there's a magic that happens when we participate together as a group. So other than that, you guys are ready? Before we get started, let me tell you who I am. My name is Bert Oliva. I've been doing this for over 22 years now, all over the world. Let me do my presentation and we'll get ready and we'll get started. So if you guys are here, raise your hands. I want you guys to interact with me. So if you have the raise your hand button on the bottom, thank you. And here we go.
Bert Oliva is an international orator. He speaks around the world about his experiences and teaches humanology, the scientific study of human potential. He has enchanted audiences all over the world, showing them the power of mind over matter.
He's one of the most talented speakers out here, and I highly recommend him to any type of.
The more prepared you are, the luckier you'll be.
He is the world-renowned authority on leadership and human behavior.
Mr. Bert Oliva.
Bert Oliva!
He's considered the voice of inspiration and motivation. Today, he'll pass his knowledge on to all of us.
For over 2 decades, Bert Oliva has touched the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. Bert has a dedicated social media following and an impressive online influence few possess, enabling him to communicate with audiences he has touched near and far.
I think he's one of the greatest motivators out there.
The thing I love about Bert is he's on stage and he gives his heart every single time.
He has developed many programs, recorded audio CDs, and written books, all of which to help those ranging from individuals to corporate and Fortune 500 companies. He has dedicated his life to speaking all over the globe and met some of the most influential and powerful people in the world.
Okay, let's go.
He has also coached highly successful business executives and politicians.
Normally seen as impossible.
I believed it and I did it.
An infectious motivator.
So get ready to learn tools that will help you tap into your potential.
Pay attention, this is real stuff.
Get ready to have an experience you won't soon forget. Please help me welcome Bert Oliva.
Michelle Evans was doing SEO when Google was first a search engine, so you can imagine her knowledge base. Over her 15 years in SEO, she has worked with hundreds of clients to try to make them reach their full website potential, from million-dollar monthly revenue websites to the small local business that sells cupcakes. She has been on numerous Google panels. She is certified in both Google Analytics and AdWords. And she has a passion and talent for keeping things in perspective while watching the bottom line grow. And tonight, she's here to share her knowledge with us. So let's welcome Michelle Evans.
So I'm really excited about having Michelle today. Hi, how are you, Michelle?
Hi, great. How are you, Bert?
Good, good. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So normally when I do my interviews, I like to find out a little bit about your past, you as far as you would like to take it. But I like to let people know that we're all same, and it's just a matter of pursuing your dream and your passion. And we got to see you live in action in the Social Wow Cruise, and I love what you were saying. It's like you really knew your knowledge and what it is that you bring to the table, and that's one of the things I want to share with them. So we are going to get into the SEO and all that good stuff that you have, all that information. But tell me exactly where it all started. Like, where were you born? You grew up.
Sure.
Give me a little bit of feedback.
Okay, sure. I was raised in an entrepreneurial family. My dad, I'm half Lebanese, half American, and my dad is he's owned every type of business you could possibly think of. I grew up, he owned Burger Kings and franchised Burger Kings. He had McDonald's. He owned a shoe store. I worked in the shoe store. We owned a bakery. I worked in a bakery. So I grew up watching my parents own their own business and struggle week to week trying to keep their business going, and also trying to direct a whole bunch of people. And I worked in these businesses. So I tell people I had my first job at like age 6.
Wow.
And I would, you know, I would do like, literally I would help ice the cupcakes for the bakery case. And I was back there, you know, helping with any business that we ran. When we ran the shoe store, I was working there from age 16 to 18. So
when you're talking about entrepreneurship, you're talking about, you know, Burger King, you're talking about a bakery and a shoe store. I mean, all different businesses.
Yeah.
That was a great place to learn. That would be it.
Oh yeah. I felt like I was going to college anytime I listened to my dad lead a director's meeting or get his managers in a room. So when I went to college, of course, I majored in marketing, and I was in Los Angeles, and I said, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to do an internship at an advertising agency and just try to go for the whole marketing advertising aspect. What I learned really quick is that when you work for somebody else, you can only make a certain amount of money, but there's like a ceiling that you reach. I know we've all heard of that glass ceiling,
right. But
I reached it within 4 years at this advertising agency. And once I reached it, I was like, I need to start a business.
When you went to school, Michelle, did you go with the mindset of maybe I can learn something to help my parents grow their business faster? Or, you know, what was your thought process?
Yeah, that's exactly why I went for marketing and advertising, because my dad was a little bit older and the whole computer age was coming about. So I could see that it was going to pass him up if I didn't keep up with it. So after I had worked in the advertising firm for a little bit and got my feet wet, my dad and I started a new business, and we started a ticket brokering business.
What is that?
Well, we sold like Broadway tickets, sports tickets. Have you heard of StubHub?
Yes.
Okay. I was a direct competitor of StubHub and Tickets Now. Yeah. So we started this business in 2002, and that is where I learned SEO, because I had to get us on the first page for New York Yankee tickets and you know, Boston Red Sox. This was, if any of you are baseball fans, this was back when the Red Sox made it to the World Series. Everybody was like shocked. And I had to learn SEO from the ground up. My dad actually threw a book on my desk and said it was the internet for dummies. And he's like, get the phone to ring now, Michelle. And I was like, okay. And I literally like dove into that book, and it worked.
I remember back in 2002, SEO was a niche business. I mean, it still is in a way, but it was something that, you know, only the major companies would use it. Only, you know, if you were like a Fortune 500 company, you definitely need to use SEO. Has that changed in today's time?
Yes. And I'll tell you why, because everything now is about Google Maps.
Okay.
So if you are a local business, you absolutely have to have SEO. Where it used to be, you're right, it used to be the large corporations because it was a component of their branding. So, you know, anything that needed a lot of branding, they also needed a lot of presence on the search engines for different keywords. But like the beauticians, the pest control companies, the doctors, the acupuncturists, the lawyers in different cities, they all realized that I need to be first, second, or third when you type in, you know, attorney San Antonio. So that became, so the local market opened up tremendously. I don't think there's a business owner I have met yet, Bert, that doesn't want to be on the first page of Google.
Yeah, but you know what it is? A lot of people are afraid. When you say SEO, it seems like, well, this is going to be too much for my company to handle. And that's one of the reasons that I enjoy your presentations, is because, I mean, for lack of better words, you kind of dumb it down. And I am not into SEO, but I know how important it is. And I realized, wow, you know, this is something that my clients can use. In fact, we're going to hire you for one of our clients right now, and we're going to work ourselves. because we realized, we thought it was something that was passe, that already went through. They're not doing it anymore because the algorithm has changed. But no, you showed us and you proved to us that they're still using it. There's different methods. Can you explain that to us?
I've had to adapt. I'm in a very competitive industry, and I've had to adapt throughout the years to keep up with this competitive industry. So still to this day, organic traffic converts 3 times more than paid traffic. Do you know what that means? So like AdWords or Facebook ads, those don't convert as well as someone typing in an organic search and finding your website or your social media or whatever platform you're using. So I've had to learn to not only get you on the first page, but also get the website and the platform to do its job. So it's not just, oh, I got all this traffic to your website, I'm done. Now I have to make sure that that traffic turns into actual leads and sales.
You're able to convert them.
Yeah, and it's not as complicated as you would think. Really, my advice to any small business owner would be just put out great content. Really, that blog that you dread writing, if you don't want to write it, just pay someone to write it. It's worth the $75 a month, because you can get a blog writer for, you know, $50 to $75 a month. The reason why it's worth it, and it's worth it to post every single month, is because you have to update it on a regular basis, or else the search engines think you're stagnant. They're like, oh, they haven't done anything in 6 months.
Does that work with videos too?
Yes. Videos have 5 times the power of a written blog every single time it's played. So if you send out this video link and somebody plays it, that's 5 blogs. That's equivalent to 5 blogs that you just uploaded on your website. Every time a user plays the video.
So how do you get it in so many people's hands?
Or a video.
With all the competitors out there and all the speakers and all the platforms, without giving away your trade secrets, you know, what are some of the things that a person can do to get it out there? You know, maybe the keywords or something. I don't know. I'm just asking.
It all depends on, like, I have clients that can only afford like a very limited budget, like $300 a month. And they tell me, what's the most I can do with my budget here? And I say, what's your best selling product? Let's make a video about that. Let's really target our audience and test it, play that video in and advertise that video within a social media. So, because every time that video gets played, it's producing more content for you. So I've had clients that can only spend like $50 a week in advertising, and we'll put up a video on Facebook. We'll target the audience. You know, let's say they're only interested in dog grooming. We'll find all the dog groomers in Miami, all the people that have pets in Miami, and we target them on Facebook and we play a video over and over and over. And you would be surprised how much traffic and leads that will generate.
But what's the difference between you doing it as a company and then them going out there, because Facebook has given them the access now to pay for ads, and then they do it, they don't get any results, and they'll spend $500 a month. You know, what's the difference when you're using a professional?
When you're using someone like me, I know what triggers. We've been working for years now on what triggers people respond to. Just to give away a few, because I don't mind giving away trade secrets. You have a higher conversion rate, about 33 to 35% higher, if you put a number in your title. And I think I talked about that before.
Right.
If you put like the 7 top tips for taking care of your garden, 35% more people will click on your blog article or your advertisement just by putting a number in the title. So there's so many tips that I have learned over the years. Where I fit in best in a marketing plan is when there is a end goal of how many leads you want. So if a client comes to me and says, Michelle, I want 50 more leads a month, and I will reverse engineer it, Bert, and I'll say, okay, 50 more leads a month. We're going to need to do this, this, and this. I'm going to need to do SEO and social media. it's going to cost this much. Is it worth it? So let's say that's, you know, $900 a month. Is that worth 50 leads a month to you? And then I calculate, how much is a lead worth to you? Well, if you're a dentist, a lead is worth $15,000 over a lifetime. If you're an acupuncturist, a lead is worth about, you know, $1,800. So if I can bring you leads through this optimization, then you begin to understand that, yes, this marketing is worth its value. And then I have to go do my work. I have to make sure I get you the leads. And my team is very skilled at doing that. And we provide like a guarantee that sometimes we'll do stuff at a discount just so we can get the business. So I'm an entrepreneur. I know what it's like. I've been at the bottom of the barrel, you know, scraping up 50 cents for a hamburger. So I know like how it goes with owning your own business.
And is your father still a part of this business?
He now owns the third largest rental company in San Antonio.
That's great.
And I do his SEO. So if you type in, wedding events or wedding rentals, San Antonio, he shows up first on everything, like on 50 of his terms. So now he's competing with the big guys.
Is that something that you have to do month to month, or once you have it set up, you can just run with it? You know, people may ask that.
With SEO now, we have to constantly put out content. And content comes in the form of blogs, video blogs, social media posts, and without getting too into the weeds, but there's a lot of content layering that we have to do on a monthly basis. So I just had a client, she stopped her SEO with me, and then she just emailed me like right before this. She's like, Michelle, now I'm number 37 on this term. And I'm like, yeah, that's because I haven't been working on your stuff for 2 months. I said, listen, you got to keep doing the stuff I trained you to do. Like,
you also train your clients to do certain stuff? Oh, okay. Yeah. Explain to us a little bit about that. So I have trained them how to structure content. So one of my biggest things I come in is I make sure that all the images are tagged, all the H1 tags are correctly with the keywords in the first 30%. I train my clients to do this because the more content they post, the better my stuff works. So I have some clients that post on a daily basis, blogs, and then I don't like read mores. Do you guys know what those are? No.
Okay, so if a link says read more and it links to another page, don't do that.
Okay.
Put your keyword, say live video footage here. Whatever keyword you want to do, or dog grooming tips here. No more read mores or click here's, because that anchor text that's called anchor text, and that has 5 times more weight than just a regular piece of wording so I go through a whole list. My team does a list of about 87 checkpoints monthly on every single one of our accounts.
So in your business, there's no small business or large business, pretty much the same across the board. It just depends on what is it they want to do with their business, how they want to market it, right?
Yeah. So if you're selling a product or you're selling a service, there's really not a business that doesn't want what I'm talking about. They all want to be found organically, because an organic lead is a much better lead than something you're paying for. But you do have to pay to be found organically. SEO hand over hand is much less expensive than any other form of marketing across the board. I've started with clients that have spent, I have a client right now that when I first started with him spent $8,000 a month in AdWords, driving people to a website that only had a 3% conversion rate. So I took that budget, we created a funnel that now has a 23% conversion rate, and we only need about $3,000 in AdWords now to that funnel. So not only did I cut his costs, but I created a funnel that has a 6 times more conversion rate for him.
Yeah, you got him. You got.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's a process to it. That took 8 months.
That's another question. How long does it take an average? Does it work right away, or what's the average? Like what we're looking at when somebody gets started with you, what it takes 8 months every time, or is it 4?
No, it does depend on how much content I'm working with. So if I have a bare bones website where they haven't posted any blogs and they haven't done any on-page, what we call on-page SEO, which is like internal stuff, usually it takes about 5 to 6 months, depending on how aggressive they want to be. But if I come and the website has a ton of content, they know, they're posting on their social media, in 2 or 3 months, I can have them up on the what I consider the less competitive terms inside Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Okay? And then if I start video blogging and we start doing video blogs and they have an aggressive plan there, we can get up in 30 days in our organic traffic.
That's pretty neat.
But then, Bert, here's what happens. I have a client, I just got on the first slot. He's in #1 on Google when you type in a term that about 1,800 people type a month. And it hasn't changed his conversion rate. So what's the problem?
He needs to grow. He needs to.
Well, and his website. The problem is his website.
Okay.
His website doesn't do the job. So then I have to go back and I'll say, okay, the website's not doing the job. We need to figure out why. We had 800 visitors 3 months ago. Now we have 2,500 visitors. Okay, people are coming. I look at the pages. I spend a lot of time in Google Analytics and I see what pages they leave. And I'll say, okay, they leave when they get to the About Us page. So what does that tell you? They're figuring out if they want to hire you. And if they don't like what they see on the About Us page, they leave. And 9 times out of 10, and you'll like this, I tell them they need a 2-minute video. They need a demo reel that tells them and tells people what they do. If you go to my website, the first thing you'll see is a video. Because you're not going to want to work with the person unless you see what they're like. People want to work with who they like. So anyway, that's just another point.
Where do you see this SEO business going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Funnel marketing. Funnel marketing is a new thing that just started happening about 18 months to 2 years ago. You've got maybe even longer. People were using it before, but funnel marketing is where SEO, digital marketing, AdWords, Facebook, everybody's going to funnel marketing. And you'll see that's the next big buzzword that everybody's going to be talking about. Oh, I need a funnel. I need to build a funnel. So that's one direction I see it headed.
And tell me, do you get excited that once you got into this industry? How does it make you feel? Are you like, does it motivate you, or is it just a job?
Yeah.
So it's not just a job.
No, I do this because I love it. Because I could go run a rental company and be a wedding planner and do 18 events a week if I wanted to. My dad is just waiting for me to move back. Just can't tell you. I do this because I love it. When I hear a client text me or call me or email me, Michelle, I just signed up a session, or I just booked 10 sessions, or whatever, or I just sold like 5 pairs of boots. I love it. Like, it gets me so excited, because then I'm like, you know what? Let's go for more. And I get inspired. And I'm like, okay, let's make our conversion rate even higher. So right now we're at 8% on the website. Let's get it to 12. And let's change this, this, and this. And so I really, really love what I do. But there's some challenges.
Part of your success has to do that you love what you do, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people say, well, I did it and it's made me a lot of money and it's all great. But if there's no passion, you will only do it for a certain amount of time. Eventually, you'll let it go. And that's what I've seen over and over again. And then people are trying to reinvent themselves. What is it that they really want to do? There's nothing more exciting than finding your passion at a young age and saying, this is it. And then you master it, which is what we see when we saw your presentation. My whole team was like this woman knows what she's saying. That's as important. So, where do you see your company going in the next couple of years? Your expansion, how do you see it?
We are probably going to go through some growing pains. We have anywhere from, I talked about it a little bit on the cruise. I see my company in 5 years being one of the industry leaders. And because I'm taking time now to train and to educate my staff so that they can be as helpful and as giving as I am and as passionate about what I do. I really believe in empowering my staff so that they feel successful too. So when they get a sale or they get a client, they're like, I got a client and I get a piece of this and I'm going to make them successful and I'm going to work with them. So I do see us being one of the industry leaders. Currently in my field, I am one of the current experts, primarily because I'm female and there's not a lot of females. So they have to kind of even out the panel with a female. Let's throw the female in the panel because it's all men. So I think that helps a lot. And then, I get to be on some panels that Google, right now I'm on an AdSense panel, helping them make their algorithm and their rules and their, all their stuff for their advertisers. So I get a lot of industry insights, and I think that keeps my company fresh. So that's why I feel like in 5 years, we'll still be an industry leader, staying on that edge.
What about interns? Do you have any interns you work with?
I do. I take them in the summer, and then I'll take them in the, well, we won't have any winter ones this year because there'll be some transition, but I do take them in the summer for the 3-month period, and they usually stay on with me. So sometimes I tell people all my employees are college students or former college students that I hired on, because I'm a remote business. Every single one of my contractors or employees works from their home. So they love what they do. They can go to a coffee shop and work. They can go to like a restaurant and work. They can sit in their house in their pajamas and work.
Do you guys ever get together and have meetings like as a group?
We do. We meet virtually. So we'll have a staff meeting every week. And we go over the whole pipeline of clients or the ones that, have pending tasks. And so yeah, we meet, we have fun. I back up all my staff knows that I have their back, because when you're out there dealing with clients, you have to be empowered. Like, you have to know what you're doing, and I want them to be confident. So I have their back.
And what do you look for in an intern or someone that might want to partner up with you, or what type of what is it you look for in some of those? Someone
that likes to talk to people. If you're not a people person, then you shouldn't be working with Spartan websites, because I have, like, Monday through Thursday, I have back-to-back meetings with clients. And you have to love talking to people, because when you're spending that hour with them, you've got to make them feel like they're the only ones that matter, and that you really want them to be successful. And you've got to really feel that, like, you really have to want them to sell more or build their business. I mean, basically, we help people build their business. That's what we do. And we build it online. It's not the brick and mortar type stuff, but we help build their digital presence.
Yeah, but this is the future. This is the way the businesses are being ran from now on. In fact, we also have interns, and this year we have implemented using virtual interns. We actually have them all digitized. Not have them be digitized.
Yeah, but they're working remotely.
They're working remotely. And one of the things, it's important that it's different. It's a different way of working, and if you don't change with times, you become obsolete. And a lot of people think about the old way of doing business. And I came from Xerox days where, you have to wear the suit and no beard and shaved and no long hair and the whole thing. And make no mistake, there's still certain places that I go that I wear, $10,000 suit. But for this new world of doing business is so new. And you got to be ready to expand and have an open mind and open heart to all these possibilities, you know, and not think you know everything. That's why I'm always interested in interviewing people like yourself. And whenever I see that there's a big piece of knowledge out there, that's what I go after. Because if I'm able to get some information and someone that's watching the show or the replay, and they're like, you know, this is what I'm looking for, then I've done my job. Because that one message, that one job. However, you know, there's one thing here I want to talk about. You seem like you work really hard. It seems like you love what you work, but you work really hard. And I know you work really hard because, you know, my team and I communicate with you, and they tell me she's always working. She's traveling. So, but you also have a family. How do you balance that? That's one thing I want to talk about.
I put my kids to work.
Isn't that illegal?
Borderline. Actually, my one son, I have 16-year-old twins and an 11-year-old. The twins are boys, and then I have an 11-year-old girl. My one twin son actually does edit websites and optimizes on-page SEO for me, and I've trained him how to do it. So awesome. I think one of the reasons I can work as hard as I do is I love it. Okay, and I have the liberty to work from home. So if I stay up until midnight working one night and I don't have a meeting until 10 or 11, I know I can sleep in a little late, you know, so I have a flexible schedule where it's not where I have to go in and sit from 9 to 6 and then I'm done. So, and then I have an amazing smartphone right here, okay? It's done everything.
The smartphone is only as smart as the person that's using it.
That's correct. So when I'm waiting in the line to pick up a kid, I am responding to emails. I'm like, no, yep. And then the third thing is I spend a lot of time training my staff so that they're empowered to do the same tasks that I do. So right now I'm training a new person. Her name's Tracy. And she attends every meeting with me. I'm like, Tracy, I know this is intensive, but she's getting a 3-week intensive with me, listening to everything I do, how I talk. And then I'm going to hand over the next meeting to her and let her lead the meeting. Because in every meeting with my clients, I go through analytics, I go through the stats, I go through where we're at in our keywords, I go through their content calendar. Like I empower my clients too. So that they know what they're doing.
No, the reason I ask is because a lot of people looking at the interview will say, well, she's young, you know, she's beautiful, so it might be really easy for her. They don't understand that you have a full family. And you have to balance that family in order to be able to be successful. I mean, this is some of the stuff that we do. You know, my family travels with me around the world whenever there's time, and if they're not, then they stay home with the nanny, whatever the case is, but they're a part of my life. And some of them have chosen to work for us, you know, it's not illegal. And some of them don't. Some of them want their own career. They want to go on their own way, and that's good too. You know, but it's because they see the entrepreneur mindset that you have, and they'll probably say, you know what, maybe I want to open up a bubblegum machine, for lack of better words. I want to sell widgets. And the inspiration came from them seeing you work those hours and dedicating your life. You know, I tell people all the time, you want to have great children, you preach less and you practice more. If you practice what you preach, you will have amazing children because they're seeing the actions, not just the talk. A lot of parents are all about talk, you know, but that's great. So I'm excited. So what's your goals for the next, 3 to 4 years? You already told me where you see the company, but you as a person, where are your goals?
My goal, personally, I want to travel. Both my sons are going to be seniors next year. So I want to take them on a huge, I want to do Fiji, and then I want to take them to Europe. I want to do a traveling trip with them for their senior, whatever it's called, their senior trip. I don't know. And then I want to obviously grow my business, but I want to grow it in a way that I don't lose the effectiveness.
Okay.
So I have to really make sure that we grow at a pace, because one of the you probably know this too. When you do a good job, the word of mouth goes through the roof.
Yes.
So I'll get in my email, I heard about you from so-and-so. They're telling me you're great and your company's great. Everybody needs website help, and everybody needs like marketing help on their website. Really. There's no company I've met, maybe Walmart or Amazon, but they have a whole
Walmart
staff.
needs help. They're hard. Shopping online is horrible.
They have a whole staff of me.
Well, they're not doing it right.
Do you know that I am literally half a mile from the Walmart headquarters?
Yeah, well, we need to be knocking on their door because the internet, but their internet is horrible.
Yeah, they need a lot of help.
Yeah.
They're a brick and mortar that can't make that jump.
They can't do it. They can't do it. So, what I want to do is I'm going to ask some questions. So if you are out there listening or watching or, part of the session, please ask us a question. We would love to have you live. If not, just send in your question. But before Michelle goes, there's a couple more questions I'm going to ask her. I would like you to share with us, whoever's watching, what are 2 or 3 tools that you've used that's changed your life to be able to do what it is you do today? Because a lot of people wish that they can do what you're doing today. Working from home and having a successful business, successful family, that's easier said than done. So what are 3 tools that you can share with us that can actually help someone, follow their dream?
The first tool is organization. Okay, so when you decide to make the jump and leave, because I worked in corporate America and I worked at agencies and I did all that. But when you decide to make the jump and leave, if you're not organized, you've got to take classes or seminars or read books. You've got to get yourself organized, because the easier and more organized you are in the beginning, the better it's going to be as you grow. Okay, so that's a great tool. The second tool that I have used is I read constantly, Bert. I am just reading this book called How to Bag the Elephant.
Okay.
And the tactics to use thinking like an elephant, and an elephant being the largest customer you could think of, right? The Walmart or the Amazon. Or if your elephant is, the local grocery store, whatever your elephant is, or somebody that could pay you $1,000 a month for what you do. So learning how to think, so reading books is like an invaluable tool. I go to the library all the time. I was just there this afternoon, took my daughters there, we got some books. So reading, then I cannot stress how important it is to have a mentor. That's what this group is right here. This is like the best. You can't put a value on a great mentorship program. You really can't. Number one, it provides accountability. So if I know I'm going to a group or a person who's mentoring me, and I know they're going to ask me, what did I do to move my business forward? You bet 2 hours before the meeting, I'm going to try to move my business forward so that I have answers. So the power of accountability and having someone to look up to and to aspire to. I have one client, he always says, he goes, who hangs out with 800-pound gorillas, Michelle? And I'll say, who? He's like, 800-pound gorillas. So what he's saying is, I want to be around 800-pound gorillas. So put yourself around people that you're like, you know what? I want a business that's that successful, and I'm going to hang out with that person or be around them as much as possible.
And that's a great advice. That's great advice. One more question for you, though. In your business, what are great clients that we can refer to you, or if they're watching? Again, I want to make sure that, explain to us how large they can be and how just normal they can be. They don't have to be a full-time in your company. What are we looking for here?
One of the qualifiers that I need, because I don't really do websites, Bert. I can build websites and build them, but if their website is already complete and then I can just tweak it to try to help them work through and get a higher conversion rate, that usually is a better client for me.
Okay.
As long as they have a marketing budget that is somewhat attainable and usable, like if it's 300 to 500 or 3,000 to 5,000,
Okay.
I can fit them in a plan where we can move them forward every month, no matter what. So the best referral for me is service industry or people that want to sell a product online.
Other than that, I mean, I really want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time. The information you provided is incredible. Once we set up the replay, we'll send you the link, and then maybe tell us how to promote it right. We got the videos down packed. You know, that's why we need to work together, because we're missing the other part. And that's the good thing is, see, that's one of the things I think that's always made us successful is finding out what our weaknesses are. And we know what we're strong at, and we know where we can be better. And when we find people like you, global gems, and we're like, wow, we can actually do work together, this is going to be great. Now we can work to that next level. So that's one of the reasons that I was really excited meeting you, especially after I saw your presentation. I was like, this woman knows her stuff. Valerie was in the back taking notes and everything. So it was we really enjoyed it. So Charles, you're on?
All right. So Michelle, first of all, I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing your knowledge with the whole Mastermind Circle. Your stuff's invaluable. You know that, and everybody can see that. So I got a question for you. You know, we're seeing how successful you are in your industry, everything that you've learned across your journey through this. I want to know, what challenges are you facing in your industry on a day-to-day basis, or just stuff that I really want to know what the challenges are going to be.
Okay, the biggest challenge that I face in dealing with my industry is how much it changes. And when I do get the client what they think will fix their business and it doesn't, then I have a challenge, because this is where I need a team. This is where I'm like, it's best for me to be a component of the marketing, because then I need a business strategist to come in and tell them, you know, the reason why the business is not getting more leads is because this, and this. See, I'm not a business strategist. I am a very structured component of a marketing plan to get your online marketing successful. So, like, for example, I had a client that she didn't think her stuff would sell online. Well, I showed her that it would, and it does now, and I convinced her, but it took me about 11 months to convince her that it would sell online. I had to rebuild her website. I had to build a structured funnel. I had to post on her social media. She finally believes me now. And but that's a great victory. So once that happened, she's like, Michelle, I'll never leave you. I'm like, I know. So, but it was a huge challenge. And she and I would fight. Sometimes I fight with my client. Like, I tell them, they get attached to something emotionally, and I have to fight with them to say that that's not a good business decision. What you're deciding is not a good business decision. So, yeah, there's some coaching that goes on.
Love it. Thank you. I just wanted to ask that, because I'm sure everybody's saying, man, it must be easy for her. But I want everybody to know that, yeah, you got your shit, and you're doing awesome. So thanks again.
Thanks.
Great question, Charles. Well, Michelle, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. It was awesome. I'm really excited to finally get started with you guys and working with your company, our company with your company. But again, thank you for taking the time out and giving us this interview. We've learned a lot, and we have a lot of information to share with the world. So I'm excited. Other than that, I want to tell everybody I'm signing off. My name is Bert Oliva. Remember to live life, and don't let life live you. And I will see you next week.
Register online and join us today for all new live interviews and weekly topics only at themastermindcircle.com.